You are about to hear an address by the Honorable Bainbridge Colby, Secretary of State during the administration of Woodrow Wilson. Mr. Colby will speak to you under the sponsorship of the National Jeffersonian Democrats. Mr. Colby.
Well, fellow citizens, I have been listening for an hour to the New Deal orator, or rather the attorneys for the defense. My friends in Farley called it the 0 hour. I think I will accept that description as about as good as anything I could think of. It might have been called a Thanksgiving service. Everybody was very thankful. Even the President has apparently recovered. So it is. No one candidly wishing to understand it can see anything in it but imposition upon the laboring man. And let me say to Mr. Wagner that his fraudulent explanation, his attempt to persuade the working man that by the forced deduction from his wages he will receive more than if the deduction had not been made, that of course is a fraudulent explanation and quite in keeping with the Act. Now this Security Act takes from the working man's pay envelope a varying percentage mounting as the years go by. Not with his consent, but under the compulsion of this law. And the money is sent where is supposed. Why, the last place in the world that any sensible man would think of sending money, and that's to Washington. There's no contract on the part of the government to give the working man the benefits he expects. Only an inference that somehow or other they will remember the implications under which they've made these deductions. Well, my friends, remember that Congress can alter, amend, or repeal this law. Congress has shown its capacity in the field of repudiation, in its repudiation of the 616,000 war insurance risk policies of the soldier. Without a qualm or a tremor, these contracts of the government were annulled. There's not much basis for trusting a government which is so proficient in repudiation. And then again, it is actuarially computed that only a fraction of the people of 25 and 30 who now begin these payments, or rather deductions, will survive until the age of 65. Only a fraction under the laws of mortality will be able to participate in the benefits of this act. And furthermore, it is undenied and is a fact that any working man could, with the same payment, receive a greater benefit if he paid his money into an insurance company. He would then have the capital and assets. He would have the protection not of an inference, an implication, but of a contract legally enforceable in the courts. Well, some of the employers, I learned from the Democratic protestants, have called their employees' attention to these facts. They have told the simple truth. But up goes the outcry from the exposed and uncovered New Dealers that even to tell the truth is coercion and must not be countenanced. What nonsense. Now, my fellow Americans, I do not propose at this late hour to ask your attention for more than a few moments. In these moments I shall address myself to the thoughtful, sincere, industrious, self-effacing and patient, as well as self-reliant and self-supporting America, who are the salt of the nation, its mainstay, the pillars of its support, and the source of any hope we may entertain for the future happiness and well-being of our country. It would be too much of an infliction upon you for me at this time to restate or attempt further discussion of the issues of the campaign. Their vital importance cannot be overestimated, I think you fully appreciate this, and from the discussion that has already been had, I think you understand. When the people understand the issues before them, they no longer need leaders. Neither leaders nor spokesmen matter when the people come to know and understand, because then they see for themselves the dangers which threaten them. They know whence these dangers come and how to meet them. And the time is reached when they understand the true designs of their government, however artfully disguised or deceitfully set forth. They can see ugly truths lurking under fine words. They are not taken in by empty boasts and fickle promises. They can detect a faker with unerring instinct, and when they find him out, his power is gone. That point has clearly been reached. This is shown in many ways by the attitude of the press, which is well nigh united in its condemnation of the New Deal, by the fact that the President is hardly a single member of the party which elected him who is willing to defend him, and by the indisputable fact that in every section of the country there are signs of a surging growth of protest and rejection, which is overthrowing all party lines and all differences that have heretofore divided the electorate. It must be the realization of these facts which explains the President's tragic revelation of himself in the Madison Square speech after the night. His address was the most amazing campaign speech ever delivered, because it was the most repelling. Presumably aiming to attract support, he could hardly have chosen a surer way to alienate it. Here was a president, not smarting merely under criticism, but writhing under it, swept headlong by hysterical resentment, shaken by the very intensity of his hatred, and so bitter and reckless that he threw reserve and even prudence to the wind, as he boastfully proclaimed that he had already proved a match for those who opposed or criticized him, and if re-elected would prove he was their master. This mood seems to have slightly changed, judging from what came from Hyde Park tonight. What the President has been known to change again, and to change again. Which way is he going now? It was indeed shocking for a spectacle from the President of Nation, of a constitutional democracy, who has no power to save such money but by the Constitution and he has taken under the preserved then to obey and not transgress. Such a President's mind, purpose, and feelings gives startling point to the estimate of injustice by Young of Switzerland, the most eminent psychologist in the world today. Returning from a visit to this country, this illustrious scientist has just published the impressions derived from his studies in this country. They are printed in the London Observer of recent date under the caption, "The Psychology of Dictatorship, Stalin and Roosevelt." "I have just come from America," said he, "where I saw Roosevelt. Make no mistake, he has the most amazing power complex, the Mussolini substance, the stuff of a dictator, absolutely." Well, this is precisely the judgment which the United States have reached. The American people may not be eminent scientists, but they are very observant nonetheless. They know what, and they know something beyond the knowledge of scientists. They know that the President of the United States cannot be a victim unless he destroys the Constitution. They know that the President cannot even aspire to dictatorial power unless he has a willingness and an intention to overthrow the Constitution. The American people thoroughly understand the approach shot to dictatorship. They know that when a president becomes impatient with the independence of the judiciary, or the separate and distinct rights and powers of the legislative branch of our government, and seeks to gather up all power unto himself, they know that these are strong steps in the direction of tyranny. Dictatorship is only another name for tyranny. And they will have nothing to do with tyranny or dictatorship, or anything that smacks of either, or aims at either, or is a step, even a short one, in their direction. If a president cannot satisfy his ambition within the Constitution, He need not look for any supporting people in his effort to satisfy it outside of, and have to sacrifice it. This has been tried, but it has always failed. Those who tried it with obviously and disgrace. The President should not be angered by his failures. Someday he will be grateful for them, or at least those will be who are solicitous for his fame. Mr. Roosevelt's conspicuous failures have been in fields where he could not have been desirous to succeed. He has failed in his endeavor to enlarge the powers of his office beyond its constitutional limits. To his great good fortune, he has failed in his efforts to discredit the Supreme Court and to foment popular impatience with its impartial incorrectness. He has failed in his efforts to destroy the power so dear to the American people of local self-government. He has failed in his effort to deprive the people of their age-long liberty. He has failed in his endeavor to regiment the lives of our people and subject them to an arbitrary discipline and control emanating from Washington. He has even failed in his effort to scuttle the great Democratic Party which elected him, and to reduce its members to silence and submission as they see the party's pledges violated and its principles and traditions scattered to the wind. He has failed in his effort to destroy the American system of government and to undermine the principles of representative democracy. And he has failed in his effort thus far to set up on the free soil of America a collectivist tyranny patterned upon the degraded Soviet regime which prevails in Russia. Had he succeeded in any of these efforts, in which he has so happily for himself failed, his name would be forever a buzz and a hissing. Posterity would revile him, and history would hold him up to universal contempt. The tragedy, however, of President Roosevelt's case is that if re-elected, he proposes to renew these efforts, to persist in his endeavor, undemocratic and unconstitutional president. He has gone over hook, line, and sinker to the communists and socialists by whom he is surrounded. He has a fixed determination to manhandle our institutions, to force them into new molds, impose his sovereign caprice upon the country, entirely forgetting that he is dealing with a free people. And here is the issue which is to be decided tomorrow. Are we to continue a free people? Is the United States of America to remain a self-governing democracy? Is the Constitution to which we owe our survival as a people, our happiness, our security, our wealth and power, and our influence in the world, to be done to death by its enemies, or saved by the intelligence and patriotism of the American people? As the campaign closes, the lines upon which it opened are seen to have constantly narrowed until they meet at a point where the essential issue rests. When our country is in danger, there can be no cleavage between loyal Americans on party lines. To have seen our party its and its principles forgotten, are thankful that in this hour of crisis the Republican Party has given us a patriotic and American candidate whom we can consistently and heartily support. We believe that Governor Landon of Kansas has been raised up to save the country. His loyalty to the Constitution, his devotion to American principles, his sheer faith in the American system and in the American way of life cannot be questioned. He will terminate once and for all an administration which the great Democratic senator from Virginia, Mr. Carter Glass, has repeatedly denounced as a disgrace to the nation. It will do more. It will rescue America from those who defile it by their words and dishonor it with their deeds. It will restore America to her loyal sons and daughters, who will keep her honor bright and serve her in spirit and in truth. Therefore, my fellow citizens, my fellow Americans, all be of firm purpose and high resolve. Let us, in the words of the Apostle Paul, stand fast in the liberty with which God hath made us free. And the day which is now come and is at hand will bring us blessing and reward.
You have just heard an address by the Honorable Bainbridge Colby, former Secretary of State during the administration of Woodrow Wilson, who spoke to you from New York under the sponsorship of the National Jeffersonian Democrats. This is the National Broadcasting Company.